Good morning, YouTube. Hyperion Omega here. For this video, we'll be focusing specifically on Madolche test hands with my Madolche deck, as opposed to the two combos and one test hand I did in the last video. The deck profile will also be out around the time this video comes live, so you can probably get a chance to see. You'll probably have a chance to see my thought process as with this deck. Our first hand will have one Messengerado, one Pet Incessor, one Croissant, one Mufuel, and one Chateau. Alright, let's get started. I have decided to start with using Pet Incessor's effect to summon herself and her big sister, her out. This rocks us into Madolche is for the rest of the turn, but yeah, we probably expected as much. Madolche, for the future reference, is a deck that has a gimmick of returning themselves to the hand when destroyed by most means. But it also has a pretty potent advantage generator, be it due to the 4 stars and berry of extenders the deck has. Because we didn't use our normal summon yet, we are free to do so with on Madolche Mufuel. This lets us summon Messengerado from the hand as well and proc his effect, because as Mufuel is a winged beast. Let's see. Now that we got Kick It Out, we can activate how we can use it later on to bring more monsters out on the field. Because we currently have 2 fairies, and that will probably stay a stag regardless of what monsters we cycle through. To recap, we have 1 level 3 and 3 level 4 monsters. We begin in our combo by using Pet Incessor's effect to summon herself and then summon her big sister. This will walk us into Madolche's for the rest of the combo, so Nibiru gets free real estate. Here. We could also go on with the normal summon first. But I'm not exactly sure how helpful that would have been. We normal summon Mufuel. This lets us summon Messengerado, which in turn lets us search Ticket. We then activate Ticket, because we're obviously going to need its effects. We have the level 3 Mufuel, the level 4 Princess, and 2 other level 4s. So naturally, the best thing to do here is to exceed summon in Glass Souffle. Detaching the monster to make another monster invulnerable to certain effects, then summon Chocolate Hour mode. We use Chocolate Hour mode's effects to shuffle Princess back, and detach Glass Souffle, and then search a monster. In our cases, Angelic, because of Ticket, we also have another monster to use, which will be our second Messengerado. And now that we got that established, we can then search out Madolche Salon. Mufuel is on the field. Also again, the effect is still proc, so retribute Angelic for her effect, and this in turn lets us bring out Hoot Cake. we activate salon for later. We still have chateau and croissant in our hand. We use one medicine gelato and one fuel as link material to summon our fresh to start. Right. We then activate Hookie's effect by banishing let's see, the Angeli. He just special summon another monster. In this case, it'll be a croissant hunt. I have no idea why I just did that, but I did, and so we're moving on with this. Now then, we activate Madolche Chateau. Hodis lets us shuffle everyone into the graveyard, and then detach Hatch Princess. And then this will let us bring out it'll let us bring out Messenger Auto again and to search us as a spell or a trap. So what on effect would also activate. So now we're gonna try Promenade and Knights. Now the thing is, Knights needs Princess specifically on the field, to activate. It is bonus effect, and we only have her in the graveyard. Alright, so now the question is, what exactly do we do? Well, there's actually a fix for that. First off, we overweight the two messenger gelatos into a rank 4 monster. Any rank monster in the archetype. Queen Tiramisu or Glass Souffle. Hey, we're gonna go with with Glass Souffle again. Again. And then we detach a messenger gelato for her effect. Let's say on chocolate. Then we activate a second chocolate. Now then. Chocolate's it's a soft once per turn, so on her first effect. So we use that. Had to shuffle Princess back in the deck, and that procs Ticket, which in turn would summon Princess out. Because we shuffled, because we shuffled a monster back in the deck, we obviously must shuffle the deck. If Nibiru doesn't rear its ugly meteoric head, we get two free K beaters, one 2K beater, 2 23K beaters, and another 2K beater. As well as a negation of a monster's effect, specifically a bounce and a more general omni negate. We can also use Croissant's effect to return a monster to the hand, and our extra deck to bring out another monster by ticket if we so wish. As it stands, and it's probably not one of the better boards, so long as everything goes through. If it doesn't, not really. We're kind of stuck. All things. This is but our first of several test hands throughout the video. So as such, again, the interesting thing with Madolche is their repairable advantage generation. Our second test hand this time will be for going second. It will have Pegasusor, Hootcake, Dogorin, and Madolche Promenade, and another Pegasusor. And because this is the second turn of the duel, we can draw a card, which will be Ticket. Now, we have 6 cards, including a Kaiju to work with. Let's get started. We activate the Ticket and use Pegasus's effect to summon herself. This help and her other effect to summon Pudding Cess, of course, as usual. Because we are going second, we're going to be using the other Madolche rank 4 exceeds, which will be, in this case, Queen Tiara Misu. We said Promenade, and we normal summon Hootcake. This was us because we have a feeling. Okay, due to our current state of the board, naming no monsters in the graveyard, we can't really use Tiramisu's effect to its full potential yet, but we can attach Pegasusor, her to shuffle her into the deck, and bounce a monster. With Ticket on board, we can also summon out our Angeli. We have a Kaiju on hand, and so we can deprive our opponent of a hand advantage by attributing their monster first, and then using Tiramisu's effect to bounce it back to our hand. Angeli goes to the graveyard to search out our Messengerado because we already have Hootcake out. And also for that reason, we can search Urcha Spell or Trap, which in our case will be Chateau. Now we can then banish Angeli for Hootcake's effect. Had to search out our second Messengerado. Which will this way we can get our Promenade out. We overrate a Tiramisu into chocolate mode just in case, and then we take Hootcake and Messengerado and use them to link summon in our fresh to start. This. Now then, we can then use Chapaco's first effect to return the Messengerado to the hand and activate her other effect, which will remove Tiramisu. This lets us summon our monster, which in our case will be Mageline, and because a ticket we can also add another monster to our hand, which will be a second Madeline. Because now that that's done, we can overlay these two rank 4s into our second tiramisu. And because of that, we can hatch one messenger gelato. Shuffle those two into to shuffle two monsters and search one more monster and bring out one more monster, which will be croissant. My croissant, because we're going to set up for another. Because we're going to set up for another messenger gelato effect, and we need his ability to bounce cards to hearts. I think. Now then, Princess's effect kicks in, and again, so we can attach her and summon out our messenger gelato. From there we can add Madolche Salon. Which you think so? Now then, we use tiramisu again, and to summon chocolate hour mode, and use her effect to bring Princess back. This lets us summon out our second messenger gelato and add another spell. Or another trap. In this case, we'll be going with knights. Now we activate a croissant effect again to bounce the messenger gelato. This activates ticket its effect, and we get hit another spell, which at this point doesn't really matter much, so let's go in another promenade. Croissant should be a level 4 monster at this point. So we activate Salon on use its effect to summon Madeline, and then use her effect to search out Amufu. Because this okay. From there we set Madolche Knights. Knights is setting up for Princess's return. Overlay Madeline in a messenger gelato. Messenger gelato and Croissant to glass of flay, and use her effect to pitch messenger gelato out to make a monster invulnerable. This is where Air Chateau comes in. We activate Chateau Oh, that shuffles monsters. That shuffles. There's all our Madolche monsters into the deck, and that procs ticket. I guess. Hey, which let's bring it back our pudding cess. Yes. And keep in mind that we removed 3 to 4 monsters on the field, depending on if we use the kaiju or not. Right. So, right. We have no monsters in our graveyard, so we have 2 free K100 beaters. There's 2 2300 attack beaters, 1 2K beater, and 1 19K beater. And we also have an opportunity to set another trap if we want, if we use so on second effect. And we have some decent recovery options if the opponent somehow wipes the board, or next turn. Overall, I think this is a pretty decent board. Especially for going second, and it could probably push for game, and if you're up against the right deck. Heck. Let's move on, shall we? This is our third and final test hand for the video, in which we have New Fuel, Promenade, Grave Diggers, Lesson, and Angeli. Now, this is rather interesting because we have New Fuel and Angeli out. We normal summon New Fuel first, then for her effect summon Angeli. This would in turn let us tribute her to search out another monster. Like in this case, Pain Cessor, which in turn lets us summon Pudding Cess. The thing about Grave Diggers is that it's probably worked best when used with a Freezia's effect to counter Nibiru, but since we drew it, that's not really an option anymore. And since we summoned Pancessor, that was never an option to begin with. We set Promenade, he would set Lesson, and then we overlaid these two for Glass Souffle. Glass Souffle's effect activates. He's letting us pitch Pancessor to make herself immune, and then we go to Chocolate Hour mode. We use Chocolate's effect to return Angeli to the deck, and then pitch Glass Souffle to use her other effect, which this time will directly be Mess and Gelato. This will let us search a spell. Which in our case will be Chateau. We activate Chateau, which shuffles Pancessor and Glass Souffle back into the decks, and lets us pitch Princess herself out to summon another monster, which in our cases will be Hoop Cake. Keep in mind that we have no ticket. And that's our best resource generator. With Salon coming close. We use Hoop Cake to banish the Pudding Cess to search out another Mess and Gelato. And now with that said, we can then pitch and search out another spell. We already have Promenade. We don't have any monsters summoned with Salon. So let's see what we can do with ticket this way in the game. We activate ticket, hit, pitch those two, and use those two on our second glass of play. We then pitch Messenger out to make chocolate immune into effects, and then we summon our second chocolate under that. Now then, we use this to return. Now we use chocolate's effect to return and Messenger out to the deck. That would proc ticket's effect. It was for us to search out a monster. Our monster will be Messenger Auto again, and this will get us so on which on okay. Now we just send in Mufuel and Hoot Cake to the grave for Hape to wink into fresh to start. Alright. We have Madolche Lesson and Promenade. So we at least have Hape. So if the opponent does try to do back, it does make the boneheaded decision of trying to fight their way for this board instead of using effects. They would have to contend with two 4800 attack monsters to deal with, if as well as one more moderately powered nun with 2800 attack and Messenger Lotto's own 2900 attack. So we also have Promenade, so we can at least get a negate in easily enough. So that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all next time.